All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Three Birds and a Punt. I am one of the co-hosts. My name is Afia, and I am joined by my friend John. Say hey, John.
Hey, hey.
As you can see, we're missing one part of the three birds. Whip couldn't be here tonight, but we're gonna hold it down for your boy. As always, we want you guys to know that we have partnered with the AmazeMedia Labs to be the official Eagles podcast of the Pigskin Network. You can find Three Birds and a Punt on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Megaphone, or wherever you get your podcast. We're also on Twitter and on Instagram and on YouTube Live right now. Okay, at Three Birds and a Punt. Please download and subscribe. We really appreciate all the support we've been getting. We really do love the fan engagement. So thank you, everybody. All right, let's just jump right into it, okay? I want to talk about the Eagles owners meeting down in Palm Beach, which is not too far from your girl Afia. She's enjoying this beautiful weather out here. It's pretty chaotic up there. So, the NFL came down to much better weather, and there was a lot to talk about this week. We heard from Lurie, we heard from Howie Roseman, Jeff Lurie, and Nick Sirianni. So, I'm really excited to tap in with you. We didn't get to talk last week, but I want to know what are your thoughts of what you heard from the owners meeting, and just give me your take on it, John.
It's crazy. Salutations and welcome. Oh, it's good to be back. So much to talk about. Jeffrey Lurie surprised me in a good way. I really did not have, I don't know. I guess with the whole Carson thing, you're not sure. I think the franchise is in a good place. He put in place some changes, like with the jersey, um, the overtime rule as well. The overtime
Mm-hmm.
rule.
Yeah, he had. Yeah, that I forgot to even announce, right, that the name of our title of the show, episode 40, is Lori's legacy, because like John's mentioning, Lori actually had some pretty big news to drop at the owners meeting. So like when you say the overtime rule, what do you go let our fans know? What do you mean by that, John?
Each team will be able to possess the ball, and then it comes down to go for two.
I think it's only in the playoffs, right? Not in the regular season.
Only well, I think it is only the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're just trying it out, which is, I'm definitely, I was happy to see, like you said, Lori put in for that, right? Because I do think it is something that's needed. I definitely feel like I know defensive players feel like that's a crop. But I just feel like when you go to overtime, each team should have an opportunity to possess the ball. What you do with that possession is up to the defense, but you
That's
should
true.
have a chance to be on the field. It shouldn't just be if you score a touchdown, then that's it. Game over.
Very true.
I
That's
think
true.
fair competitiveness allows you an opportunity to match. You know,
That is so true. Levels
especially
the
because
playing field.
yeah, right. Especially because I think they were like the numbers on the coin toss affecting the outcome is just too much in the playoffs. And I agree with that. Like your chances are so much better if you're the team that get a lucky break.
Yeah,
This makes sense.
that's true. That's so
You
true.
know, and you mentioned again the Kelly Green jerseys. Are you excited about that?
I am. Kelly Green was such a iconic color for our team. Like, and the fact they once we adopted the more midnight green, it it was a wash.
Hmm.
Those Kelly Green jerseys were awesome. They
Yeah,
were.
no,
And the
I'm
fact that the
excited. I'm
team
excited to see some of these
we
throwbacks.
fought for it for a long time, but the
Yeah.
thing was that we couldn't do the helmets as well.
Hmm.
Now that we have a black helmet, it allowed us to have another color scheme for an alternative helmet going forward. So it's going to be. And he said the players love to wear black on black.
Yeah, I think it looks good. I think. honestly, I feel like the Eagles have some of the coldest jersey color schemes in the league. You know, just
That's
and
true.
that midnight green is woo. That's just fire, right? I
Speaking
have a
of,
couple jerseys like that, and they're I love them. I love them.
me
So
too.
I'm excited about the opportunity to get Kelly Green back. So I thought, like you said, John, this is an opportunity for Lurie to sort of burnish his legacy a little bit, kind of
Yeah,
step out a little bit, but at the same time, he's trying to maintain this narrative that he's not as involved in the football operations as we've been hearing that he is, right? And he's like, oh, I'm not as what do you say? I'm not as involved as I used to be, which I think is a crock of bullshit.
yeah.
Hey, Bird Gang, what's up? What's
Gang,
up?
what's up, brother?
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
I honestly just think it's a crock of BS. I definitely feel like Lurie is just as involved. He just doesn't want to be seen as the meddling owner, right? He doesn't want to give off that Jerry Jones vibe, but he's clearly Jerry Jones. I just wish he would own that shit. I really wish he would stop trying to be this sort of like affable owner that doesn't, that's only there to ask questions, never there to like put his fingers in the shit and just own it.
His statements though gave me confidence. He said something that really stuck out to me. It was at the very end of everything he said in this one story, and he said we want to play for the current and the future all in one. Like I was like, damn. He said we can maximize efforts on all and that's you want to hear that from your owner.
That's interesting to me.
You have
That's
some
a
owners that are detached from the team completely. This
I
guy,
don't know.
he's entrenched in the fabric of Philadelphia and everything that comes with it. You know,
No,
and
I definitely agree with you there. Like Jeff Lurie is definitely ingratiated himself as a Philadelphian. Even though he implanted, came in from Boston, but he's definitely has given the core of it. I mean, just off Eagles topic, just thinking about Philly in general, he helped produce Questlove's documentary that won an Oscar, The Summer of Soul.
from the soul.
So he definitely has a huge love and passion for the city of Philadelphia, and he's very philanthropic, and I think Jeffrey Lurie is a great owner. But it doesn't make me excited to hear him, saying that we're building for the future but playing for the now, because I think again it's the same. To me, it seems like the same old refrain, which gives him the leeway to give Howie Roseman a 3-year extension, right? The same type of mindset is like we're doing both, or you're trying to walk and chew gum at the same time. And I think sometimes in football, when you try to do that, you end up pleasing nobody, and nothing ends up working out.
You know what may have saved Howie too?
What is?
The whole Carson thing.
Yeah.
Not like just not only that though, but that was I think one of the main pros that was in his corner as to why they felt they were going to keep him. I bet you that was like 2 or 3 on
Mhm.
that list of pros for Howie getting extended.
I
Uh,
I definitely
and the
agree with
cap
you there. I
situation.
just
Look at the cap now. Like we were
right.
before the books cleared.
And those points I think you bring up are valid, right? That what how he does well, he does really well, which makes him very valuable to the Philadelphia Eagles. He is really good at the cap. I mean, he trades. He's a trade master. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't trust Howie with trades, because I do. I'm not sitting here and say I don't think Howie is good with the cap. I mean, he's not great, but he's always able to massage a way out of the things that he creates, which is good. But
That's true.
where for me the rubber meets the road is number one, his draft selections, and then number two, the sort of the lack of boundaries that will come in when it comes to coaching. You have to really let the coaches coach. You can't micromanage them, and I think that sometimes happens a lot with the Eagles, especially when we get success early. Everybody wants to be connected with success. Everybody wants their names attached to success, but not everybody can be the person that engineered this, that, and the third. So I definitely think that there's a sensation, especially maybe from Jeff Lurie, that he wants to be known as the guy who gets it right. Like he mentioned, he name dropped three choices of his, right? That he was absolutely correct on, right?
Brian Westbrook though, that was a great one. The
Oh,
Westbrook one.
the Westbrook one. I think he said. I think it
Mm.
was what Wilson, Russell Wilson, Jordan Malata, and Lane Johnson. Okay, but I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Oh
I feel
yeah,
like yeah,
My
but I
Lotta.
almost feel like it's a question of can't tell me about the ones you didn't get right. JJ Arthega, like just own up to the JJ Arthega Whiteside thing, right? Like own up to the fact that you pushed Jalen Hurts um draft, you know, the pick. I just think that that would help clarify a lot so that we as a team would not feel. I mean, we as fans would not feel like the team really does it like tells us one thing, but you could really tell something else is happening in the background.
I think Jalen's selection actually helped Howie too. I think
Mm.
that was on that list because if you think about it, they transitioned away from Carson's very well, cap friendly, a team that's not in purgatory, propensity to add more youth at a high level. Like they were like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Howie did do that right. This is, yeah, maybe we'll keep him around 3 more years and we'll see.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think Jeffrey really likes Howie too.
oh, for sure, and it's a comfort thing with Jeff Lurie, you know. And Bird Games, you know, trying to give Howie his a little kudos, and I agree, you know, that like I said, the what Howie did with the trades that's going on, with what Howie has done with managing the cap. I'm never going to say that that's not impressive. It is, but what bothers me is the the other side of football operations, which is personnel. You know, I just don't think that he's that great when it comes to free agent signings, which is our next topic, or
I
draft signings, which is another.
oh, I'm gonna say, sorry.
David, no, no, let's get into it. Let's get into. Let's just keep going, right? So, just getting into this idea that we were at the owners' meeting. We heard from Lori. We heard from Jeff. We know Jeff wants to be seen as a CEO type owner, not a meddling owner. And now we have Howie Roseman getting this deal, and he signed these free agent signings. We have White,
Kazir White, yep,
Kaiser White. We
yep.
have
Mumaki,
Hassan Riddick. We have Craig Ward. We have Boston Scott. So those right now those are our free agent haul signing, and I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
I like all of them. I like all of them. Each one.
Why
They
so?
the Hassan Reddick one, of course, number one.
Mm-hmm.
The number two was Kaiser White. Kaiser White was eighth in the NFL with 144 total tackles and was second team All Pro last year. This past year, the Chiefs. I was reading an article um, about how they were amazed that he was still on the market when he was,
Mm-hmm. Me too.
and Howie somehow that was a that could be end up being a good deal
Mm-hmm.
because if he plays well this year, imagine they lock him up and they have another young player under the radar, not too cost burden, playing at a high level. Dude, he's only going to ball out. And you know how we used to get mad at Alex Singleton tackle somebody 8 yards down the field. Like, oh yeah, he has a lot of tackles, but they're all past the line of scrimmage. Like
Right.
this dude, Kazir, this dude at 230 still will come in and fill a hole. This dude, like you gotta go back and watch this guy play. He comes in and fills holes like a 250-pound linebacker. He plays with a reckless abandon that you need somebody that's going to come and be on an island and cover anybody. And the guy is he was good at high school. He was good at West Virginia, and he was good. Oh, he was good with the Chargers. I'm so surprised they
I
let
was
him go.
actually surprised.
So
I'm actually
surprised.
really happy to see how enthusiastic you are, John. Those of y'all
Yeah,
listening
that
on the
dude,
pod, y'all got to get onto
and
YouTube
he's a
to
local
see
guy
how
too.
John just
And he's
lit
a
up.
local guy too. And he's a local guy.
Right, exactly. Like Bird Gang said. And I think that's pretty much, you can see in all the signings that we've been having, has been a lot of local guys. Hassan Riddick's a local guy. Greg Ward came back. Boston Scott came back. They know the system well. They know everybody well. They feel comfortable. So I feel like those are things that are pluses. As far as the free agent signings. Obviously, as Eagles fans have been well aware, we didn't get who we wanted to get. Bobby Wagner went with the Rams. We're still
Five
waiting to see.
years. He
Right,
cashed
right.
out.
First of all,
Bobby's
first of
the
all,
OG.
what
That's
are the
crazy.
Rams doing? Like, side note, but what the
They got
hell
the
are the
money.
Rams?
Shoot, LA. Heck yeah.
They said we don't need a draft class. We just gonna pay all these free agents.
We'll get some linemen. They do the Rams do well at getting linebackers and edge rushers like late. They're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that dude from
Oh
New
my
Mexico
gosh,
State.
it's
He was
insane.
he was a he was a free undrafted free agent. Dude was like an all pro. I'm like, damn. Corey Littleton. Corey Littleton was their last dude. Remember that dude?
Yeah, he could
He
play.
signed a big deal in the free agency, I believe.
Yeah, he could play, and I think the Rams are a good. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that I can't stand the coach and I can't stand the QB, I think the Rams are a good team. So they just got better, which is scary to think
Yeah,
about. I think Les Snead is a good GM.
he is.
But yeah, I think the free agent classes have been kind of so, but that might be just indicative of maybe the Eagles persona reputation right now in the league. I know Howie tried to spin it as, well, we have 3 first-round picks in the top 20. We have 10 picks overall. We're trying to develop a youth movement over here, so we don't want any veterans getting in the way of these young guys playing. And I think that's a great sell to the fans, right? That's a great way to sort of take the focus off of us not really getting what we like getting left at the altar in free agency, because we've been in on names nobody just want to play, and to
And
kind of,
or we don't want to pay the
or
money.
sure, or we don't want to pay. Um, and turn it into, well, we just want to focus on the draft. We really feel like the draft is going to be where we really make
It's
some noise,
deep. It's
which is
super deep.
which is fair, but that puts a lot of pressure on this draft.
It's true.
Okay, a lot of, to compensate for what could be described by many fans as a somewhat underwhelming free agent signing class. We did burnish some clear needs, but we need a veteran wide receiver in the room. Oh, we got Zach Pascal. I forgot about him. Sorry,
He's a
Zach.
glue guy.
Love
He's
to
a
have
glue
you on the
guy.
show. So didn't mean to forget you, bro. So those are some good signings, but they're not the sexy signings that's gonna be a splash. I guess Hassan Riddick could be. That's your big guy.
Zach is pros pro. He's gonna come in and he's gonna go to work, and that's what I like about him. Even as a young player, like he was good, and then busted his butt every day. Got more as Ty. I think Ty Hilton was out. He really stepped up, and then he stepped up again. I think he's a guy that's going to come and he's going to surprise you. Like
Yeah.
they said that some of his catches for like 5-6 yards, he would take like 30 yards, and you'd
Wow.
be like, oh snap! Like the dude is good. He's good. He's sneaky good. He's not sneaky good. He's good. He's solid.
Yeah,
He's
he's
like
solid.
he's like Avant. Like he's Avant. Like a,
Hmm.
ver,
I definitely get that he's a workman's wide receiver. I think he doesn't mind getting down and dirty. I definitely think that he embodies a lot of what Nick Sirianni wants to try to grow in the organization, as far as like competitive toughness, connection, ingenuity, all those types of things. So it's a very much a Nick Sirianni signing, and that's something I'm really happy to see, is that you can kind of tell with some of these free agent signings that Howie is, at least in the early goings, listening to the his coaches, and trying to match personnel to what the coach is looking for. And I definitely think that that's something that is good in the early goings, because it sounds like a good working relationship. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate the support, bro.
appreciate it.
So that's really good to see, in the early goings. I don't know. Like I said, I was underwhelmed. I guess I want to see what is going to happen when we get to, like, training camp, where we actually see the pads come on, kind of see how they're going to be utilized.
Zach, I honestly, Zach's signing reminds me of when the Eagles signed Dante Stallworth.
Okay,
Now
how so?
we signed Dante Stallworth before we signed To.
Interesting.
It reminds me he's gonna be a dude that's gonna eat, and he's gonna surprise a lot of people. I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. I have
Yeah,
a good feeling.
it all is predicated on us becoming a more explosive passing offense, right? I think that was also something
Adequate.
that was talked about.
Just adequate. We could be
Yeah,
adequate.
that would be an improvement.
But you know
Adequate.
what? He doesn't turn the ball over. Um, he did pretty well until like the end, like the last two games, I think. With
Yeah,
turnovers and stuff, he did pretty well.
yeah,
Now
no, he
just
did. He definitely
hitting
did.
on those hitting on those big plays, hitting
Yeah.
consistently on those mid
Trust in
passes.
his decision making, the accuracy. What, like Nick has those four qualities, and I think it's very clear that of those four qualities, arm strength, dynamicism in the pocket, decision making, and accuracy. He's got the first two. He can make the NFL. He can make most of the NFL throws, and I think he continue to get better. The arm's not a question. He doesn't have a rocket, but you don't need a rocket. He's
He
got
does.
his,
I think it's with his anticipation. He
right.
needs more aggressive anticipation.
Exactly. His decision making and his accuracy's got to
Like
get a little better. And
to
I
to
think I
know
saw,
to like really pull the trigger when he needs to.
yeah, like trust his eyes and just kind of like be able
Sometimes he
to
just float it
be
up. Like
aligned.
some of his interception, he just like
Yeah,
I'm
just
like,
throw
why
it
are you
up.
hanging like
Too
that?
much
Step into
air.
the throw. I'm like, step into the
Yeah,
throw.
yeah.
He's get it there. Don't put air on it so the dude can undercut it. Get it.
I noticed that he likes to loft the ball,
Yeah.
and
He
maybe
puts
it's
too much
because of
air
his
on it instead of
height. He kind of
stepping
has
into it
to,
and delivering it.
right,
Get it lower. But like,
right, to be a little sharper.
hmm
Yeah, no, I agree. So I thought it was very encouraging to hear that he been out working in Southern California, sort of refining his mechanics. I don't know if that means he's still with his old guy, that Avery dude, or if he's now with Tom House and them out there. But I think it's really exciting to see. And there is this idea, people are looking at Josh Allen, they're looking at Lamar Jackson, and they're saying, well, if they could develop better accuracy, why can't Jalen? So what do you think about that, John?
I agree, and I think he will. I mean, he's only 23. He's only 23. This will be his third year. Oh man, he. If we can have an offensive line stay healthy, Miles Sanders somewhat be like his rookie year. Boston Scott come in and do his thing. Jordan Howard or Gainwell take another step. Um, Dallas Goddard and whoever the second tight end. Those guys really come together and play and make it easier for Jalen. And he gets into a rhythm. I notice he's a rhythm quarterback. Like
Hmm.
if you think back to that Arizona game 2 years ago when he went down there and lit it up in the first half. Like
Yeah.
if he could play with consistency, he could play with consistency, and the skill players do the thing. I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's just really getting in, locking down those two things. And I don't know. I'm not as confident in you about his ability to get those skills. I think the exception proves the rule sometimes. Just because we've had two outliers doesn't mean that means that everybody can do it. But I'm a never say never type of person. So even though I'm still on the fence about Jalen, y'all know how I feel. I'm
But
willing
you
to be
but you know who he's not though.
who.
He's not Ben Simmons.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
putting in the
Thank
work.
God he's not
He's,
Ben Simmons.
sorry, little Ben Jap. He's putting in the work,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that
Trying to get
part.
better.
If it doesn't work out in the end because of the talent, then we'll move on. We'll have another. We'll be back at it with another quarterback.
Absolutely. And I definitely think that, overall, it, like you said, he's putting in the work. And that's really what you want to see from your QB, that they're being accountable and they're trying to get better each and every season. All right, now we have a little bit of an ad break. College basketball fans, join in the action on the court during the biggest tournament of the year with DraftKings Sportsbook. Turn your team's victory into your own big win. New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. It's that simple. If they win, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still join in the college hoop actions with DraftKings pools. Everyone can play free pools all March long for a shot at a share of $250,000 in prizes. Simply join the pool and answer questions like who will make it to the next round and who will hit the most three-pointers. Then track your results. Okay, download DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code TPPN. You see that scrolling down your screen? TPPN. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, that sounds like a great deal.
It does.
I want to tap into that. Now, my guy John left off on a bit of a Ben Simmons barb, and we kind of that lays our segue into our next topic. These damn Sixers, and the heartburn they're giving me as we get to the end of this damn season. Like, what the hell is going on here, John? Like, bring me back in because I'm out on the Sixers.
Oh yeah, I just had to go back. We failed to mention. I feel so bad. Shout out to Malcolm Jenkins.
Oh
retiring.
Yeah, retiring. You're right.
Salute, General Malcolm Jenkins.
Oh yeah,
you've been a great pro. Proud of you. Thank you so much. And hey man, city loves you. We love you, man.
Oh yeah, you are forever 27. And we will not have a Super Bowl win without you. You were really a leader in that locker room and in the community. And just like you feel like Philly is your home, we definitely welcome you as a brother in the city of love. So just thank you, Malcolm, for everything you've done. All right, now about these damn Sixers. Okay.
They have been disappointing. That Pistons game, oh my Lord. Okay. I don't know what it is.
What the hell?
After the game, I saw the tweet by Anthony Gargano and I replied to it, and I was like, "Stale ISO ball will not win you championships. You can't play. You have to have a variety with your offense. You saw what Detroit was doing. Dwayne Causey had them running back cuts, and that's what you need. You need action on offense. You can't have your wings just stay there or spread out. It becomes very predictable. Now, if the shots are on, that's another story. But Harden was a little off. Harden was so then at ISO, it makes no sense to even go to ISO. Maybe to space them out, but I don't know. And then to play Matisse so I don't know. They're like Matisse was in the game, then he was out, and then Cunningham was just killing us. But their transition offense was really good. That's something the Sixers need to work on. Their transition defense and sometimes the transition offense, because they get a little too pass happy when they're not being aggressive. It's weird. It's
honestly,
some of the rotations, I'm like, why is Paul Reed not out there? Why is Isaiah Joe not out there? Danny Green hit 3 threes the game before, and in this game was like up and down. Put Isaiah Joe in. Put Paul Reed, Charles Bassey. But I think Charles Bassey has to get called up from the Delaware Bluecoats. But Korkmaz, as soon as Korkmaz entered the game, the guy from the Pistons they set a pick out of bounds, back screen. Korkmaz went over instead of through the screen, and the guy flashed open right to the basket, layup. I was like, dang, yo, Dwayne Casey just hit Doc Rivers with a backdoor cut to the basket out of a timeout. I was like, damn. I don't know. I think it's Doc.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my. Thank you.
And then like all the stuff you hear, like People were
Segue
like,
into my point. Thank you for segueing perfectly into my point,
I'm
John.
like, I'm like,
It's
what the heck?
Doc. Okay, Glenn Rivers, you're fired. Okay, I need you to go. I need you to go.
It's
Because
disappointing.
we will not get anywhere with you leading us, you unflexible dinosaur.
And
I'm
then and
tired
then
of it.
and then with a minute 40 left, they put in Isaiah Joe, Paul Reed, and Charlie Brown Jr. I'm like, wait, you don't play the young guys. Those young guys are better than DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan?
Our bench is doing nothing. And rather than go with any of the young guys just to see if you can get any spark anywhere, you still again ride with your bench, which is pitiful. Your bench
Maxi
is
hasn't been
pitiful.
like himself though, too.
No, and
He-
that's
he-
the problem. When you can't have you have four semi good players, right? You got one great player in Joel Embiid. Okay, we have a maybe good player in James Harden. We don't know if he's coasting. We don't know if he's still injured. We don't know if he's washed. Whatever. And you have maybes, right? Because Tobias is streaky, and now Maxi is streaky, but Maxi's young, so we'll give him a chance. That's it. That's four. Okay, it takes five people to field a basketball team. We only have four reliable starters. Okay, let's start there. And then
I
our
like
bench is
the
terrible.
minivan's been doing this thing,
Oh,
but
yang,
of late
yang. Listen, when he's on, he's on. But
they
it's
changed
very
their offense.
consistent.
Once they changed some of the offense. I don't know, like the last two games they changed their offense. They went more to like spread the ISO, and it's stale. It's not winning basketball. All it is ISO ball to stretch you out, hold, dribble the ball, try to cut. They're gonna collapse, pass it. It's
But no,
predicated
it's not
on
working.
a perimeter game
I can't help but feel like
or getting
if
to the line.
we had any other coach, we would have won those games. We wouldn't have dropped three in a row. I just can't. I just the fact that you let Giannis DeCampo go on a 17-0 run and didn't put your own best player back in the game. Like I understand we don't have a great backup center. I understand you're trying to save JoJo for the playoffs. However, we're also
Paul
trying to
Reed,
win games.
they never give Paul Reed a chance. Paul Reed is good. He was a G League
Paul
MVP.
Reed had Giannis locked down. I saw, and then they took him off, and then he beat DeAndre Jordan up. So it's things like that that piss me off, and it's upsetting to me as a Joel Embiid fan because I want to see my guy win the MVP, and
Me
games
too.
like this are not going to be very good for his resume when he's done everything that the people have asked him. They asked him to play more games. He's played more games. They asked him to be healthier. They be
He's a
healthier. They asked him to be a better teammate. He's a better teammate. He better be a leader. He's everything you've asked. And because he's got a coach that refuses to be flex, refuses to change, he may miss out on an opportunity to be known as the most valuable player in the league.
That's true.
And I'm torn. Like the other day, I was on Twitter and I saw a tweet and I was like, "This is how I feel." And it was like they had a picture of Joel and he was laying back relaxing, and the caption was like, "How I feel knowing that the Sixers are going to get bounced out of the first round and then Glenn's getting fired." And I'm like, that's kind of how I feel because honestly, the more they do poorly, the better it is for the case that he gets canned. So if you're thinking short term versus long term, you're like, okay, in the short term, let's let them lead, let's let them lose because Doc is
You,
gone. But in the long term,
you
you're like,
know,
fuck that shit.
you know what? I think I don't think they're tanking. They don't. It's perfect if they go 3 or 4 seed. It would be perfect because you face Chicago or Cleveland, and then Miami or the Bucks, right?
Mhm.
Or whoever wins. You know what I mean? We won't
Right,
even see the Nets.
right. But I don't know. I find myself like maybe it could be a seating thing, but it could be also him fiddling around with chemistry. I understand that for a lot of players, maybe James Harden again coasting to the playoffs, not trying to test his hamstring out too much. So that's leaving him not really putting in too much effort when he's shooting, right? Um,
You know what
I
it
really
is?
want to know because I'm a little concerned that James Harden is not the James Harden that we need him to be.
He was good the game before. He was aggressive. He was
Yes.
assertive. He made quick decisions. He was on.
So
The last
what
game, the
happens
last
game
game
to
against the
game? I
Pistons,
don't know. Maybe he went out last night and had too much fun.
the game against the Pistons, he wasn't getting calls. I, th- he, his shot wasn't falling, but then he hit a shot. But then like he would drive and get fouled, and then it was a
Yeah,
chippy
but
game to
sometimes he
start.
foul hunts. Sometimes I think he checks out mentally when he's not getting the calls he thinks he should get.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's clearly an on and off switch with all players. I'm not just gonna say James Harden. All players have an
yeah.
on and off switch.
His is you could tell the difference, right? When
You
it's
can
off,
tell the
you're like,
difference.
oh,
So I
that
definitely think
defense.
that like I before I like make my final, opinion on this thing on James Harden. I want to see how he does in the playoffs. I want to see how he's
Yeah,
going to do then versus now, which I kind of understand. Maybe he's like chilling, relaxing, whatever. But if we get to the playoffs and we're not giving maximum effort, these 4 out of 7 games, or how many games we need, to move on to the next round. Doc's got to go, and we gonna have a. He is not gonna like the type of discussion we're gonna have about James Harden because Philly media, Philly fans don't play now. We like
yeah,
you, but if you're not
yeah.
performing up to your standard, we will quickly set you down.
Shout out to Chris Penix from Sports Illustrated. He wrote a great article about Joel Embiid on, and it's amazing. He talks about everything, and we're blessed and so blessed to have taken a great opportunity to draft that young man when we did. Like people were like, who the heck, and to really see where he came from, going like his journey is like the underdog story, and
Yeah.
he's like he's unstoppable. Like, and I
Yeah, I really
I'm so
truly
happy
hope
we have him.
he can
We're
get a
lucky.
championship for Joel. I think he genuinely deserved it. He loves being a Philadelphia Sixer. He appreciates the fan. He doesn't shy away from anything the fans say because he knows coming from a good place, even when we're not happy about it. So I hope that the Sixers do right by Joel because he deserves and the city deserves a ring together. That would be amazing.
He's first in NBA history in points per minute. He surpassed Michael Jordan. He has .083 points per minute. Michael
Amazing.
Jordan is .096.
Amazing.
So
Just
Joel Embiid is number one all time points per minute, minimum of 250 games played.
amazing. Just out of it's insane. He's my MVP. That's all I gotta
He's
say
my
about
MVP.
that. All right, Joel. Thank you, Jojo.
MVP.
Come on the show.
Come on,
MVP.
Joe. Come on, Joel.
MVP. All right, now
MVP.
let's leave off with this last topic. We mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show. Going into this draft, what are our needs? We've got 10 picks overall. Three in the top 20. Um, oh snap! Just got an alert. Sorry, y'all. Have to break some news on the show. The Dolphins and Xavier Howard agreed to a 5-year, $50 million deal. The most guaranteed money for a QB in NFL history. Players getting
Mm.
paid.
He got paid all of the interceptions.
Players getting paid. All right, so that leads us into our needs. Like, what do the Eagles need in this upcoming draft to kind of put us in the position to be doing these types of things, making these types of deals? Like I said, we have 3 picks in the top 20, 10 picks overall. My opinion is that one of those first round picks needs to be traded and to accumulate picks for the next year's draft, which is going to have some really good QBs in there. But I'm excited to see what we're going to do. At bare minimum, we need a wide receiver, we
Yep.
need a cornerback, we
Yep.
need a safety, we need a defense. Like we need a whole damn team.
That's
And we
true.
got 10 picks, so that's pretty good.
Mhm.
So what are you thinking, John?
I saw, I think, probably the best Eagles mock draft I've seen thus far. It had us taking Daryl Stingley from LSU, the corner, at 15, coming back and taking um what's his name? Johnson, Johnson the second, the defensive end from Florida State, and then in 19 taking Arkansas receiver Traylon Burks.
Okay, that's nice.
So they got corner, defensive end, rush, and your receiver.
Receiver, yeah. Now that's scary. Now, I like we mentioned earlier, right? Howie's trying to sell this notion that we're trying to let the young guys play. So to me, that puts me in a mind to think that we're not drafting players on potential. We're drafting players on their ability to come and produce right away. We want them to
Yep.
be as NFL ready as possible. So
Hmm.
I think that that's something that we need to really look at when we're looking at some of these draft picks. They're not wanting these draft picks to have to sit. They're not wanting to redshirt them. That to me, that tells me that maybe we won't be, how if you know anything about the Philadelphia Eagles, we know we like to build along the lines. Okay, so
Yep.
that tells me we maybe won't be drafting a lineman in the second round or the third round. Like maybe we'll wait a little bit because there's a bit of a log jam on the O line room. We've already got a lot of good names there.
That's
So
true.
maybe we could shift over and start filling up the defensive the defensive line player personnel, and maybe finally take care of the defense, which has been neglected for way too long, because I think of mistakes made in past drafts on the offensive side of the ball. So it's a good draft to get players who can come contribute. It's just making sure that we're drafting the right players.
Mm. There was a guy that the Eagles just worked out at the Purdue Pro Day, George Karlaftis, the defensive end from Purdue, and he's so much similar to Ryan Kerrigan.
Oh,
Like he
interesting.
ran a 4.71 at two. He ran a 4.71 at 266 pounds. Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, I believe. First team
Okay.
All Big Ten. Like the dude is just like he has the body to start for like 10 years, and his effort and his motor is like high. It's very similar to Ryan Kerrigan. So like him and Johnson from Florida State, and even like the Georgia dude Trayvon Walker and those edge guys. Oh, this is good. I feel bad for David Ojabo. He was going to be the Eagles pick, and he might still.
Hmm.
Oh, you know how Harry is.
No,
Oh
we're
yeah,
not
he's coming
taking
off
no
an
red shirt. We're not taking no injured players.
he's coming off an injury. Yeah, you know how we get. We're going Sidney
Sidney Jones'
Jones.
experience is is
Sidney
is bringing it back. I'm
Jones.
sorry. I know they're not the same. I know it's not the same. I know they're not the same. I know. No, no, no. No, no, Howie, no. Leave him alone. Let somebody else pick him up and redshirt him, please. We need impact players. Y'all told me we didn't sign nobody in free agency because we want the young guys to play. Then pick people that's gonna play.
That's true.
Period.
That
Okay?
I
Because
read an
I'm
article.
tired of it.
I read an article about them feeling confident. And Nick, when he was speaking at the owners' meeting, we didn't touch on this. Nick said he felt confident about the cornerback room and Tay Gowan and K. Vincent Jr.,
Kyle McPherson,
Kyle McPherson. But
the
those two,
other guy was
Vincent,
drafted.
the Vincent dude, Vincent and Tay Gowan. Those dude, Tay Gowan was on the UCF team that had Shaquem Griffin.
Oh,
Like he's
really?
come from a good. That dude was he was a dog for them. some people thought he was going to get drafted higher, and he fell to the second or third round, something like that. For average,
Interesting. I mean, I'm excited to see how it shakes out. I know, like there's no mention of us being connected with any second corners. There's no, we have to have somebody opposite Slay. I honestly would love to see us use one of our first round picks on a cornerback, get us a blue chip player, and really kind of really help that defense out. It would be really beneficial. But I like you say, like the Nick coach really likes the cornerback room already, so that does give them some options, And I definitely think that free agency is not about getting every single position of need filled on your team. Free agency is about feeling comfortable to go into the draft without reaching. Your philosophy should be best player available. Like, what do you think about that, John?
and that is exactly why I think the signing of Kazir White and Hassan Reddick are great.
Mhm.
We got two dudes that know how to get after the quarterback, that are getting tackles for loss. They're looking for people to hit the quarterback, cause havoc, get fumbles. I like that approach so much, rather than going for what's his name, Christian Kirk,
Right,
$84 million.
right. No, that that that's a
He had
completely
900
blew
yards
up.
receiving last year. He had
Yeah,
900
but that was
receiving
not
yards
gonna.
with
I wouldn't put Christian Kirk that type
Hopkins,
of money
and
anyway.
he had 900 yards when those guys were down. But Hopkins and AJ Green, you're
Right.
playing with them two dudes, and yeah, let's see how you are
But
when you're getting the
listen,
strength of the
I
coverage.
had Christian Kirk on my fantasy team, and that motherfucker never produced. Okay,
I sat
I'm
him on the bench.
sorry.
I think I
I'm
even picked him up for in our league. I think I picked him up after you had him.
Yeah.
He
That
sat on
man,
my bench and I released him. I was like,
yeah, he doesn't. I hope I listen. Go get your money, champ. Go get your money. Like I'm never mad at players for getting the bag,
that's
but
true.
you ain't deserve that damn bag, bruh.
Close, close.
So it'd be interesting to see what's going on over there in Jacksonville. That looks like the sign of a guy the GM trying to save his job. So that's what you do when you're trying to save your job. You sign a bunch of players to a bunch of money.
Trent Bulk, because weren't they? Wasn't Jameis Winston going to be the new coach? But Jameson went Trent Bulk.
Something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it was
yeah,
a whole thing. The fans do not like the GM, but you know what the fans like? A bunch of free agents flash signings. So
yeah.
maybe they'll put him back in the good graces. And I agree. Like I'm not. I think that the Eagles are going to try to go best player available. I feel
I
like
agree.
it's hard to take last year's draft as a sign of things to come, but last year's draft went well. A lot of our guys that we played actually contribute early and often, which was good. I think that was good for the Eagles to see, to kind of continue on with that pattern. It's just a matter of honestly, it's just a matter of trusting Howie Roseman and his evaluations, or Howie Roseman trusting his scout evaluations without having like the coaches swoop in last minute or ownership swoop in last minute and put their 2 cents on it in a way that's just not as comprehensive as the men and women that have been spending and their entire year and their entire career on studying these people.
Mhm. You're right. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
you got it. Like this is the draft. Like you don't see the scouts coming to coaches and saying, "Hey, go play this guy because I scouted him and he's gonna." You know what I mean? You give the coaches the leeway to direct and coach their players. You need to do the same thing on the scouting personnel side. Of course, you talk to personnel and you let them know what you're looking for. I think that was something that Nick mentioned, that he was very specific to the scouting the team that goes for the wide receivers on what he's looking for his pro type wide receiver for his scheme. And I think that's important. I do think it's important to talk to the scouts about what your specifications are for your scheme, but then let them do their job.
That's true.
Don't micromanage.
That's so true.
Have the
So true.
confidence that they heard you and that the players that they're picking, no matter who they're picking, are going to be the ones that are going to maximize your scheme. Don't let some last minute um ESPN special, like tickle your pickle, and now all of a sudden you got to draft this guy because he had such a great story.
They really, I think this year they really locked in for the draft. They have a good team. I think they're gonna. How is they're gonna? They're gonna. I think this is gonna be one of the one of his better drafts when
Hope
it's all
so.
said and done. I believe 3 first round picks. Was it
There's a
five
lot
picks in the
there's
first
a
80?
lot riding on this one, right? I think this is definitely going to be those. This will either be the jewel of Howie Roseman's tenure with the team, notwithstanding him winning the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
or this will show us once and for all that Howie Roseman should not be should not be doing personnel. He could do a business, he could do trades, executive, but he should not be picking personnel. That's my humble opinion, and that's all I got to say. All right, now, that has been another episode of Three Birds and a Punt. Please make sure you are subscribing and downloading the podcast. We're streaming on Apple, Spotify, Megaphone, wherever you get your podcast. Please don't forget to follow us at Three Birds and a Punt on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, where we are right now tonight. Thank you so much for everybody who showed up and gave love. We appreciate the support from our fans. You can follow me at According to Athea on Twitter, and you can follow my guy John at
John Monroe Jr. on
John Monroe
Twitter.
on Twitter. And even though our boy Whip is not here, make sure you give him some love on Whipadelphia on Twitter. Okay, give that man some love. And as always, this has been another episode of Three Birds and a Punt. Peace out. Go
Peace
Birds.
out. Thank you. Go Birds.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, Sean. Have a good night.